Hello everyone, today I would like to introduce one of the greatest classic novels, Crime and Punishment. Written by Fyodor Dostoevsky, this novel explores important themes such as guilt, morality, justice, and redemption. Through the journey of its main character, we learn that every action has consequences and that true redemption comes from accepting responsibility for our mistakes. Now, let's explore the story together. The main character is Rodion Raskolnikov, a poor former university student who believes that extraordinary people have the right to break moral rules for a greater purpose. Another major character is Sonia Marmoladova, a kind, compassionate, and deeply religious young woman who encourages Raskolnikov to confess his crime and seek redemption. In the background, we can also see two important supporting characters. Dmitry Razumikin is Raskolnikov's loyal friend who supports him during his difficult times. Arkady Svidrigailov is a wealthy and mysterious man whose actions create additional conflict in the story. Together, these characters influence Raskolnikov's journey and help develop the novel's central themes. The story takes place in St. Petersburg, Russia during the 19th century. The narrow streets, crowded buildings, and poor neighborhoods create a dark, dirty, and depressing atmosphere. Many people in the city struggle with poverty, unemployment, and social inequality, which greatly influence the characters' lives. This setting reflects Raskolnikov's loneliness, poverty, and emotional struggle as he becomes overwhelmed by guilt and fear. The gloomy city seems to mirror his troubled state of mind. Dostoevsky uses the setting not only as the background of the story, but also as a symbol of the psychological conflict that Raskolnikov experiences throughout the novel. The story begins when Rodion Raskolnikov, a poor former university student, develops a dangerous theory that extraordinary people have the right to break moral laws if their actions can benefit society. To prove his theory, he murders an old pawnbroker, whom he believes is greedy and harmful. However, during the crime, he is forced to kill her innocent sister, Lizaveta, who unexpectedly witnesses the murder. After the crime, Raskolnikov expects to feel powerful and justified. Instead, he is overwhelmed by fear, guilt, and anxiety. He becomes physically ill, avoids his friends and family, and lives in constant fear of being discovered. As the police continue the investigation, Raskolnikov's psychological suffering grows, showing that escaping punishment is impossible when a person is consumed by guilt. As time passes, Raskolnikov becomes increasingly disturbed by his guilty conscience. He isolates himself from others and struggles with his emotions. Sonia remains by his side and encourages him to confess the truth. Finally, Raskolnikov admits his crime to the authorities and is sentenced to prison in Siberia. His confession marks the turning point of the story because he begins to understand the importance of honesty, responsibility, and repentance. In the end, Raskolnikov begins a new life with hope and spiritual renewal. Sonia continues to support him, helping him realize that redemption is possible through sincere repentance and personal change. The moral value of crime and punishment is that no one can escape the consequences of their actions. Guilt cannot be hidden forever, and true peace comes from admitting our mistakes, accepting responsibility, and seeking forgiveness. This novel teaches us that honesty, compassion, and moral growth are more powerful than pride or selfish ambition. Thank you for watching. I hope this presentation helps you understand the characters, setting, plot, and moral value of Crime and Punishment. Have a great day.